Are you finding yourself experimenting with intermittent fasting, reducing your calorie intake, or even skipping breakfast altogether, yet that stubborn fat just refuses to budge? Imagine if there was a method to kickstart your body's natural process of cleaning out old cells and burning fat without having to endure those extended periods of not eating. Many folks assume this cellular renewal only kicks in after going without food for 16 hours, a full day, or even several days straight. While going without meals can indeed be effective, it isn't always the most feasible option for everyone. Perhaps you have a demanding job that keeps your stress levels high, or you're dealing with hormonal fluctuations, unstable blood sugar, or you simply find it tough to handle long stretches without something to eat. But here's an eye-opening fact. Your body can actually shift into this fat-burning and self-cleaning mode without committing to all-day abstinence from food, as long as you provide it with the appropriate signals to do so. This matters a great deal, because this process goes beyond mere weight reduction. It's fundamentally about turning back the clock on aging from the inside out. It helps eliminate worn-out proteins, eases swelling throughout the body, removes harmful buildup within your cells, enhances how your body responds to sugar, and revitalizes the small powerhouses inside your cells that convert fat into usable energy. When this internal cleanup is hindered, you end up feeling exhausted, swollen, and retaining water, with your body clinging to fat reserves no matter how sparingly you eat. So, what's truly at the heart of the issue? It's not necessarily consuming too much in terms of quantity, but rather eating at frequent intervals, which keeps triggering a hormone that manages sugar storage, preventing your cells from ever getting a proper rest to tidy themselves up. This cleanup mechanism functions like an built-in maintenance crew for your body, but if you're continually munching, particularly on sweets, having snacks late into the evening, or sipping on beverages with calories, your cells never get the opportunity to initiate that essential housekeeping. In what follows, we'll explore a proven approach that's backed by studies, a shortcut to sparking this fat-burning cleanup. Even as you continue to have meals, by incorporating particular nutrients, scheduling your intake wisely, and using natural substances that replicate the effects of not eating on a cellular scale, these are essentially mimics of the fasting state, and the evidence supporting them is expanding quickly. We'll cover the underlying cause, why that sugar-regulating hormone prevents the cleanup, how specific foods, drinks, and additions can imitate the fasting state without leaving you hungry, the liver's crucial function as the central hub for fat metabolism, a precise routine to start your day that ignites fat usage, natural elements such as extracts from green tea, a compound from certain foods like wheat germ, a plant-derived substance similar to some medications, and the beneficial components in coffee, along with guidance on when to eat, what choices to make, and what to steer clear of to maintain this state for longer periods. Let's start with the most fundamental understanding. This cellular renewal simply cannot occur when that key hormone for sugar control is elevated. You might be choosing wholesome natural foods, but if you're repeatedly prompting the release of this hormone, your body remains stuck in a mode focused on accumulation rather than restoration. It prioritizes stashing away sugars and fats while halting the internal tidying. Picture your body's energy management system as a household with two distinct settings, one for saving energy and another for using it up and fixing things. When this hormone surges, typically after consuming carbohydrates, grabbing a quick bite, or having a caloric drink, the system switches to conservation. Fat gets trapped within its storage sites, the liver receives instructions to hoard glucose, and the cleanup process grinds to a halt because the body perceives an abundance of resources. Conversely, when this hormone level decreases through periods without food, lower carbohydrate consumption, or certain nutritional setups, the switch flips to utilization and maintenance. Now, your cells begin repurposing faulty components, tapping into stored fat for fuel, and purging accumulated waste. This is the essence of that renewal process. The majority of individuals never achieve this state not due to overeating in volume, but because of the frequency of intake. Think about a typical day. Cereal in the morning, a midday coffee loaded with sweetness, snacks in the afternoon, and treats after dinner. The organ that produces this hormone keeps pumping it out, and the renewal never gets a chance to begin. To illustrate, Consider this hormone as a watchful sentinel guarding the entrances to your fat reserves. When levels are high, the sentinel blocks any exit, ensuring no fat escapes. But when levels dip, the sentinel retreats, allowing fat to flow out and be converted into energy. So, how can we reduce this hormone without resorting to prolonged abstinence from food? Studies indicate there are natural aids that simulate the fasting environment within your cells. These encompass plain black coffee or green tea, which contain compounds that energize a specific pathway for fat breakdown and cellular repair, as well as plant extracts and spices like those from certain herbs or cinnamon that enhance how the body handles sugar and lower its spikes. Opting for meals low in carbohydrates or those that promote fat as the primary fuel source can avoid sharp rises in this hormone. It's wise to skip sweetened drinks and morning sugars, since even seemingly healthy options like fruit juices or blended drinks can interrupt the process. Research in cellular studies has shown that merely diminishing the signals from this hormone can initiate the renewal, even without cutting back on overall intake dramatically. This underscores that managing this hormone is more critical than just consuming fewer calories. If this hormone acts as the toggle for turning the renewal on or off, then the liver serves as the command center determining whether your body shifts to fat utilization or continues hoarding it. You could be abstaining from food, selecting nutritious options, or staying active. But if your liver is burdened, the renewal decelerates and progress in shedding fat halts. Consider the liver as your body's central processing unit for metabolism. Every bit of food you consume, whether sugars, fats, or proteins, passes through the liver initially. It handles the distribution of nutrients, maintains stable blood sugar, stockpiles energy in the form of glycogen, and signals the body on whether to draw from fat reserves. However, when the liver becomes overwhelmed by surplus sugars, particularly from fructose, alcoholic beverages, processed oils, or incessant nibbling, it develops resistance to that sugar hormone. A liver that's fatty and irritated impedes the renewal right at the cell level. Investigations in leading health journals reveal that conditions like fatty liver directly inhibit this process, stopping the organ from eliminating damaged cells and surplus fat. Thus, even during periods without food, the renewal isn't fully engaged if the liver is swollen or overloaded. To make this clearer, envision the renewal as a team of janitors. If the main workspace, the liver, is cluttered with debris and spills, the team can't effectively begin their tasks. The area needs to be cleared and organized first. The same principle applies to your liver. So, how do we declutter and restore its capacity to facilitate fat burning and initiate renewal? First, eliminate items that congest the liver. Fructose from sweetened beverages, store-bought juices, and additives like corn syrup, alcohol, where even modest quantities can delay the process for extended times. And certain vegetable oils such as those from canola, soybeans, or sunflowers that induce stress in liver cells. Next, incorporate supportive elements. Bitter greens like those from dandelions, rocket leaves, kale, and young broccoli plants, foods high in a nutrient called choline found in eggs, organ meats from pasture-raised animals, and fish like salmon, which assist in moving fat out of the liver, and spices like turmeric combined with black pepper, which alleviate swelling and encourage the renewal. Additionally, employ mild periods without food or strategies that imitate them, such as unsweetened black coffee, green tea, or warm water with lemon. No additions like sugar or dairy. Aim for 12 to 14 hours of no intake overnight, which is sufficient to spark gentle liver renewal in many cases. Cease eating 3 hours prior to sleep to minimize nighttime hormone surges and allow the liver a respite. When the liver is functioning optimally, the hormone decreases more rapidly, fat utilization engages more readily, and the renewal activates with greater efficiency, even with only brief pauses in eating. You don't necessarily need to go without food for a full day or adhere to rigid eating plans to spark this renewal. Research has identified that particular foods and natural elements can replicate the fasting effects deep within your cells. This approach is about imitating the fasting state to promote renewal. These choices help lower the sugar hormone, dial back pathways that promote growth and halt the cleanup, and energize the body's switch for fat burning and restoration. Here are some of the most effective natural methods to initiate renewal, even during meals. First, foods that enhance this process act as cues to your cells, indicating low energy availability, prompting them to recycle worn parts, Green tea, especially the finely ground variety, contains a compound that energizes the fat-burning pathway and tempers hormone surges. High-quality olive oil from olives includes a substance that bolsters cellular tidying and safeguards the liver. Combining turmeric with black pepper creates a strong pair that fights swelling and supports renewal. Garlic and onions provide elements that aid in reducing liver fat and bolstering detox processes. Second, natural substances that simulate fasting are recognized as activators of renewal, often featured in studies on longevity and countering age-related decline. For instance, a compound in grapes and blueberries energizes pathways akin to those in fasting. A herbal extract lowers blood sugar and the hormone in a manner similar to some common treatments. A substance found in fermented items, matured cheeses, and mushrooms directly prompts renewal in cells. Another from apples and red onions combats damage from oxidation and fosters cell repair. Third, everyday practices to activate renewal don't require overhauling your routine. Minor adjustments yield significant results. Finish meals 3 hours before bedtime to lower nighttime hormone levels and aid liver cleansing. Implement a 12 to 14-hour pause in eating overnight as a soft yet potent trigger for renewal. Exposure to cold, like brief showers, stimulates specialized fat that burns energy and activates the renewal pathway. A short walk or gentle movement after eating helps lower blood sugar and boost sensitivity to the hormone. Combining these foods, substances, and routines makes your body behave as if it's in a fasting mode. Even with intake, the hormone remains subdued, growth signals diminish, and renewal engages, leading to accelerated fat loss, particularly around the midsection, decelerated aging, increased vitality, and improved function in the brain and liver. Now that you've learned ways to initiate renewal without extended pauses in eating, it's crucial to address what halts it. You might consume green tea, use supplements, or even pause eating for 14 hours, but certain foods can terminate the process almost immediately, shifting from fat utilization to accumulation. This occurs because renewal only activates with low hormone levels and manageable cell stress. Some foods cause sharp hormone increases, stimulate growth pathways, and overburden the liver, swiftly deactivating renewal. First, frequent snacking, even on nutritious options, poses a problem. It's the timing more than the content. Each time you eat, whether a small portion of nuts or a bar with protein, the hormone elevates. Elevated levels signal storage over cleanup or fat burning. This ongoing intake obstructs renewal, keeps the liver occupied with sugars and fats, and prevents the shift to fat utilization. Second, the most detrimental items that stop renewal include sugars and sweetened products like desserts, fizzy drinks, or even bars marketed as healthy, which cause massive hormone surges and deactivate renewal. Processed grains, such as white bread, pasta, and baked goods, lead to quick sugar release, high hormone levels, and fat buildup in the liver. Overabundance of protein, particularly from animal sources in large quantities, activates growth signals that block renewal. Certain oils from soy, corn, or canola, rich in a type of fat that promotes swelling, hinder repair in liver cells. Alcohol impedes liver renewal, heightens cell stress, and pauses fat processing for hours. Third, consuming food late at night is a subtle yet powerful disruptor of the body's repair mechanism. Late intake keeps the hormone elevated through the night, blocking fat burning. The liver remains focused on digestion instead of detox, and a key hormone for fat reduction and recovery declines. This explains why individuals who eat well but nibble late still accumulate weight and feel fatigued upon waking. To maintain renewal, end eating 3 hours before sleep, avoid sugars, processed carbohydrates, and those inflammatory oils, and keep protein intake balanced rather than excessive in each meal. By eliminating these obstacles to renewal, your body returns to a state of maintenance rather than perpetual storage. You begin to feel lighter and more alert in the mornings, with clearer thinking, not from deprivation but because your cells have finally been granted the space to purify. Having identified the foods that interrupt renewal, let's discuss integrating renewal with fat burning in a manner that feels effortless, not like a restrictive regimen or self-denial. Once you grasp your body's workings, you don't need to coerce weight loss, you merely remove impediments and engage innate processes. The foundational idea is that renewal purifies cells while fat burning supplies the energy, both depending on low hormone levels and steady blood sugar. Rather than prolonged abstinences or stringent low-carb plans, use brief daily intervals and targeted foods to sustain low hormone while nourishing adequately. The first step involves a 3-part daily cycle for metabolism. In the morning renewal period, hydrate with plain water, unsweetened black coffee, green tea, or mineral salts, without any sweetness or dairy, maintaining low hormone and sparking renewal. During midday nourishment, have your initial meal featuring healthy fats, protein, fiber, and essential nutrients to replenish without major hormone rises. In the evening restoration phase, conclude your last meal 3 to 4 hours before rest, emphasizing protein, vegetables, and limited carbohydrates to permit hormone decline overnight, enabling fat burning and deep renewal. Many start with a mild 12 to 14-hour eating break, such as ending dinner at 7 in the evening and starting breakfast around 9 the next morning, creating room for your body's natural functions without hunger. The second step is crafting a meal composition that supports renewal. Include moderate protein from sources like eggs or legumes to balance hormones without overstimulating growth. Add beneficial fats from olive oil, avocados, or clarified butter to steady sugar levels. Incorporate fiber and plant compounds from leafy vegetables, broccoli sprouts, and berries to nurture gut health and enhance renewal. And include bitter or fermented elements like cabbage ferments, vinegar from apples, or bitter greens to cue liver healing. This combination keeps the hormones subdued, bolsters cell energy producers, and sustains a subtle renewal throughout. The third step offers optional enhancers for renewal without needing abstinences. Green tea for its energizing compounds, herbal extracts or cinnamon to naturally reduce blood sugar, vinegar before meals to cut hormone response significantly as per research, and a 10-minute stroll post-eating to aid sugar management and avert storage. Often, people follow all the right steps. They pause eating, cut sugars, sip green tea, yet fat remains stubborn, mental clarity eludes them, and swelling persists. The culprit is a hidden hormone tied to stress. This stress responder, produced by glands above the kidneys, is vital for daily function. It rouses you in the morning, controls blood pressure, and manages swelling. But when it remains persistently high from inadequate rest, emotional pressures, late-night device use, excessive physical activity, or irregular meals under tension, it halts renewal and switches the body to fat retention. It prompts the liver to release sugar into circulation even without intake, elevating blood sugar and thus the storage hormone, instantly stopping renewal. It's akin to attempting house cleaning while debris is continually added. To clarify, imagine your body as an urban area where renewal is the waste removal service clearing outdated sections. The storage hormone creates traffic jams blocking the trucks. The stress hormone acts like a weather event, flooding more vehicles onto roads, causing total gridlock. Even with healthy habits, high stress prevents effective cleanup. Indicators that this hormone is impeding renewal and fat reduction include awakening fatigued despite rest, persistent midsection fat, evening urges for salty or sweet items, feelings of unease or quick temper, emotional overeating, or being energetically wired yet mentally drained. To naturally reduce this hormone and enable renewal, expose yourself to morning sunlight for 10 minutes before screens to align its daily pattern and boost nighttime rest signals. Practice deep breathing, like inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 7, exhaling for 8 in 5 rounds before meals to engage the calming nervous system and stabilize sugar and hormone. Take a form of magnesium at night, around 200 to 400 milligrams, to lower the stress hormone, enhance deep slumber, and relax muscles. Cease intake 3 hours prior to bed to allow hormone drop and initiate renewal during sleep. Choose mild walks or stretching over vigorous workouts when tense to reduce adrenaline. Promote fat utilization without taxing the stress glands. Evidence highlights that metabolic healing is impossible without addressing stress reactions. Renewal isn't solely about meal timing, it's about fostering a serene, low-hormone setting where cells can securely mend. We started with a straightforward, yet impactful concept. Extended, uncomfortable pauses in eating aren't required to spark renewal and fat burning. Your body possesses an inherent repair mechanism that simply needs favorable circumstances: low storage hormone, reduced swelling, and cellular tranquility. To recap the essentials: Renewal serves as your cellular recycling, discarding faulty proteins, toxins, and debris, rendering cells more youthful, efficient, and responsive to sugar. Activation doesn't demand harsh measures. Thoughtful nutrition, low hormone mornings, and plant-based aids like green tea, herbal extracts, vinegar, spices, or post-meal walks can gently engage it. The true adversary isn't nourishment itself, but hormone fluctuations from constant grazing, sugary starts to the day, and evening bites that confine the body to accumulation over repair. The stress hormone can covertly obstruct fat shedding and renewal, even with clean eating, as subpar sleep, worries, nighttime lights, or overly intense routines elevate sugar and storage signals. The genuine fix lies in establishing a rhythm. Structured eating pauses, meals packed with nutrients, timely dinners, and stress management transform your body into an autonomous, purifying, and fat-consuming entity. For the coming week, experiment with this. Halt intake 3 hours before sleep. Commence days with water, unsweetened coffee, tea, or salt sans additives. Initiate eating with protein, fats, and fiber over sweets or processed grains. Integrate one renewal aid like tea, extracts, vinegar, spices, or walks. Emphasize rest and dawn light to temper stress. You'll notice hunger subsiding, desires waning, midsection softening, and vitality sharpening, not from restriction, but from empowering your body's innate healing. This approach transcends dieting. It's about authorizing internal recovery. The liver rejuvenates, swelling subsides, cell powerhouses optimize, and hormones align favorably. This prevents sugar imbalances, liver issues, mental haze, early decline, not via sheer determination, but harmony with your physiology.